Hi there, it's Kim from Crafty Redesigns, and today we're going to be having a look at using BRUSHO with our poly plates. So first up, you need to make sure your poly plate is nice and flat onto your poly mount or onto your stamp base. Next up, we just want to make sure it's got no dirt on there, because the last thing you want to do is start making your poly plate onto your card and end up with a little bit of dust on there. So I'm just going to give it a quick spritz and rub it over with my fingers, and that should get any dust it's attracted off it. See, there's a little bit on there, just a bit there, and I do this with my fingers just because I can feel better where that dust is. Just going to give it a quick wipe over, and then I want to be able to just smoosh my fingers over it really easy. They shouldn't be dragging, they should just be moving really gently over my poly plate. So next up, BRUSHO. I have got emerald green and the lovely turquoise because I'm going to make a bit of a scene here. So I've got those two, and I've also pulled out two sprinklets. Now remember, your sprinklets come in two different varieties. You have your mica, which is your lovely metallics, and you have your glitter binder. I would never recommend popping your glitter binder onto a poly plate, only because it's glitter and it's going to take an age to get off your poly plate. So this one, I'm going to put that to one side. Mica one, absolutely. It looks lovely on your poly plate, so we will add a little bit of that in today. So I'm going to think about my scene now. I want green across the bottom and a bit of blue at the top because I want to create a landscape. So I'm going to start off with my emerald green, and I'm just going to tap it very gently across the base. Yep, you don't need much at all. Then we're going to grab, I'm just going to make sure my pin goes back in. I'm going to grab my turquoise, pop it up in this top corner very gently again. And then I'm just going to pop a little bit of sprinkler on. I feel like I'm baking a cake here with all different ingredients. Now, remember your sprinkler with your BRUSHO, as soon as the water hits it, it all mixes and merges. Yeah, your sprinkler doesn't work like that. You can have patches of colour, of sprinkle, sparkle even. Just going to give it a quick on there. Pop my pin back in. And then we need to spritz. So if you've got a box lid or something like that, brilliant, pop it in there. If not, just make sure you've not done what I've done. You've got nothing that you don't want BRUSHO on. So I've moved a piece of paper I'm working on out to one side, and I'm just going to spritz. Now, if I spritz here, I'm only going to pop little puddles of water onto my poly plate. We don't want that. We want it away. Normally when we set up, it's kind of shoulder height away. And give it a quick spritz. And that BRUSHO should start to activate. You can see it there. And what we're looking for is bubbles, not puddles. I've got a bit of a puddle going on over here. So let me just grab a piece of kitchen roll. I'm just going to blot that out a little bit. There we go. But the rest of it is all little bubbles on our poly plate. I'm going to take my poly plate and I'm just going to flick it over. I'm going to turn it over, and then I'm going to position it onto my piece of card. Then I'm going to encourage it. There we go. And now remember, I've got two different colours on there, and if I've got any extra water, it's going to run a lot like when we're using our distress inks. So I'm going to lift it up to my darkest colour, which in this case is actually my turquoise. I'm just going to lift it just like that, very gently. Now, two things. I've got a bit of a puddle going on there, so I'm just going to blot it a little bit. I can either speed that up drying with a heat gun, or I can just pop it to one side, but you can see that lovely colours you've got on there. I'm loving this. It's like a wispy cloud, and you've got some of the sparkle starting to show. Now the sparkle won't show straight away. You're going to have to leave that a little bit for it to dry before you can see that sparkle coming out. So that's the first print. Now if you look at my plate again here, I have still got quite a bit of BRUSHO on it, so I'm not going to spritz here where I've got my puddle, but down here I've still got some raw BRUSHO. So I'm just going to give it another spritz, just like that. Grab another piece of card. And pop it down here. Now it'll be much more diluted because I haven't got as much BRUSHO on it this time. But you can normally get a good couple of prints off BRUSHO on your polyplate. Let's lift this one up and see what we've got this time. Oh, look at that one. Very mystical, that one, isn't it? So I'm going to put that to one side as well. We will dry those in a second. So cleaning up your polyplate. What you want to do is either spritz it, really wet it, and then just wipe it up like you would if you were using ink. Now you'll notice mine is a little bit stained. Not a problem. BRUSHO will not damage your polyplate. It'll just change it a funny colour. If you want to try and get some more of that BRUSHO out, just pop it in some water. Leave it to soak for an hour or so. Go back, change the water, and keep doing that until your water starts to run clear. And you'll have a much cleaner polyplate than mine. But BRUSHO will not hurt your polyplates at all, or your stamps. So let's have a look at our lovely prints that we've pulled. So there's our first one. I'm just going to grab my heat. Let's just give it a quick dry. So these are now dry. You can see the lovely effect you get with your BRUSHO. I'm just going to move that around a little bit, so hopefully you'll see some of that lovely mica. Our sprinklet, that was the gold sprinklet we used there on our polyplate. What a fabulous effect you get with BRUSHO and your polyplates. That was the first one. This was our second pull from the same polyplate with the same BRUSHO. We just spritzed it again to get that effect. What I would do to finish those off is just grab my polyplate again, go around with my memento just to give it a better frame. But I hope that's inspired you to grab your BRUSHOs and your polyplates and just give it a little go. Hope you've enjoyed that, and I'll see you all again soon. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.